Hello, everyone. Welcome to Online Seller UK podcast. My name is Prabhat, founder at Online Seller UK. And today we'll be talking about accounting, which is an important part of any online e-commerce business. I'm joined by Philip, who is the founder of Outserve. And yeah, welcome to our podcast, Philip.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Prabhat.
Excellent. So if you could introduce yourself and about Outserve, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhat. Yeah, my name is Philip Oakley. I'm the owner and founder of Outserve. And at Outserve, we work with growing and scaling e-commerce businesses, help them know their numbers so they can focus on probably what is far more important to them. I don't imagine many people on this listening to this podcast are getting excited about accounting necessarily. Hopefully far more excited about their products and sales and marketing. But actually, if we help them know their numbers, they can focus on what they do best.
Excellent. I think before we were recording, we were talking about the trend this year has been margin, margin, margin.
Yeah.
So do you want to touch base on something around that lines to start with?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is just, from conversation we've had certainly recently with clients, with other e-commerce businesses, and it really is understanding their margin. And unfortunately, there are still many businesses, and especially e-commerce businesses, that don't really have a strong understanding of what their margin is on every product that they sell. I think over the last few years, we understandably see businesses focus on turnover. Let's get more sales. Let's get more money coming in the bank account. Let's look at that bank account. But of course, what every business owner, entrepreneur in the end understands, it's no margin, no mission. And probably Amazon is a great example of this, where we've seen increasing costs of sales, warehousing costs, fees, and everything else. And there's an unfortunate thing where even some businesses could be near enough selling us at a loss. They're getting a sale, they're getting turnover, but actually really understanding how much money, a profit, am I making on every unit that I'm selling. And that probably is the thing that allows them to focus on where should I spend that next pound on marketing, on advertising spend. And really understanding, by the time I've worked out what I sold it for, what it cost me to buy, and any cost of goods sold, plus of course the marketing spend, was it actually worth doing?
Absolutely. So this now leads into our main topic, really. So which was top e-commerce accounting mistakes that's online sellers are making and how to avoid them. So yeah, talk us through what are the mistakes you're seeing these days.
Yeah. So I think, again, if we focus on turnover first, we do see people sometimes not actually accurately reporting their turnover. So probably, again, in the last few years, people have really just been looking at the income that's coming in, maybe just the receipt into their bank account. And, Amazon and other platforms will actually net off and deduct a lot of fees and expenses. So we do still see businesses treating that income, what came in the bank account, as turnover, and not really breaking it out properly to go, well, actually that was a net off. There's obviously other things in there, charges, fees, even advertising or other marketing costs, but particularly VAT and sales taxes and all those things. And that can be quite hard, actually, as you probably understand from Amazon's 2 weekly large net payout that hits the bank, to actually break that down and really understand what does that figure mean to my business. Yes, it's money into the bank account, but actually, for an accounting point of view, to really understand your numbers, there's a lot of things that could be in that Amazon payout when it's analyzed. And of course, at the high level, you've got your sales, but there's a lot of things coming out of it as well. And to really understand your accounting, know your numbers, so you can plan and make strategic decisions. Understanding what's in there, I think, is really important.
Yes, I think a lot of this goes down to time sort of thing because as we get orders, we got to dispatch things on time. Obviously, the stock depletes, so you got to fulfill that, manage the suppliers. Now, these are all important tasks to keep the business going. And sometimes it can be an oversight, but it's not an oversight that's excusable, really, is it? So what can you do? Is there automation system that can help, or is there any manual process that can help? So how do you think sellers should look into this?
I think obviously working on it manually initially, just understanding how it breaks down is of course really useful if people want to understand it. But yeah, definitely it's about timing. I think certainly we see many businesses who can analyze their sales and can do it, but unfortunately they're 6 months behind. And of course they need to make a decision today based on today's costs and today's numbers, and the information they've got is from 6 months ago. And that's where automation can help. There are systems that can automate the split of your income, start to analyze that. Of course, once set up correctly, and I'm caveating that, once they are set up correctly, they can give you the numbers clearly a lot quicker and easier, which means that, as soon as you've got that payout, you've got the analysis to make that decision. And there are various platforms. I'm sure many e-commerce sellers are using maybe accounting software like Xero, QuickBooks, and many others. They're not going to do that automated, accounting of e-commerce platforms yet. There are other platforms out there.
Okay, so so with this automation that you've said, is it quite easy to handle, or is it difficult, mid-level? How does it work?
I suppose it's like a lot of things in business. Some people set up their Xero accounting very easily and find it semi-natural. Other people need a lot of help and assistance. And without a doubt, when we look at this, and it doesn't matter whether it's just your normal accounting, Xero accounting, QuickBooks, or this automation, you do need to get your sales and your taxes right, because clearly you don't want to be not paying over VAT in the UK, EU VAT, US sales, whatever it be, US sales taxes incorrectly. So it's important to get that right. If you feel comfortable in that area, knowing what sales there are, clearly there are, some great help. Amazon has marketplace facilitator VAT and marketplace facilitator tax in the US to help it effectively automatically calculate. But you need to take that information, you, the entrepreneur, business owner, e-commerce owner, and allocate it accordingly into your accounting software. Some may find that easy. Some might need advice of their accountant. Some may need a specialist to come in and get it set up. I think it's one of those things, if you invest a bit of time, effort, and of course money to get things set up, you can reap the benefits over the next few weeks, months, years of getting the figures right and getting them in quickly. But I completely understand some people feel a lot more comfortable with taxes, accounting, debits and credits, and other people really are experts in their product, are great at sales and marketing, great at promotion, but really need somebody to help them with accounting. Not many business owners and entrepreneurs that I have met got into business to do accounting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not my favorite topic in some terms of getting it done anyway, but you got to be done. So I see you've got A2X and Xero behind you. So I believe you use those tools to help sellers get organized. So talk us through, if Amazon seller is there, and how is Xero and A2X work, and how can you help as well to the Amazon sellers?
Yeah, and clearly I'm showing our favorite solutions here, and it's probably not surprising. Xero, certainly when we talk about the UK market, the most popular accounting software in the UK, and very, very popular worldwide, Australia, New Zealand, America, and clearly having online accounting software that can integrate to lots of different pieces of software, hopefully be able to share with an accountant and a bookkeeper. So it means you can get that sort of help and support are really, really useful. A2X as a piece of software, which we are an A2X partner. Now that sorts of sits between the two, the marketplaces like Amazon and others like Shopify and eBay and all of those things at Etsy, and does that analysis piece, because unfortunately probably as many e-commerce businesses find, having Xero is great, but it's not going to take that Amazon payout every 2 weeks and do the full analysis for you. There is extra work that you need to do on that, and A2X will connect into the Amazon marketplace, look at that payout, and based on the settings in A2X, analyze it automatically into Xero or QuickBooks and other packages, NetSuite and others, and will mean that when it comes through the bank feed, when the money comes through the bank feed, you can reconcile that to the penny to what's coming out of A2X.
Excellent. And we were talking about margin earlier to start with. I just wanted to join A2X and margin
Mm.
together. So with the help of A2X, will I know margin of a product um, weekly or daily or something around that lines?
Yeah, so this is all around the area that we see many businesses who really don't have a handle of what we call cost of goods sold.
Sure.
You know, COGS, cost of goods sold. What did the product that you sold actually cost you? Now, A2X is a great, entry level into doing that sort of accounting, because what it can do is actually store a list of every product you sold and what the cost of goods sold for that one. So if you know how much it costs you, you can hold that data, and every time you sell it, it can then actually make that journal, that adjustment into zero to allow you to work out your gross profit and make that margin a lot easier and a lot more visible. And that again is what Zero won't do on it as a standalone. So what you might do is post a purchase invoice into Zero, but you're not matched. You just bought a lot of stock, you haven't sold it yet. The key really is understanding this is what I've sold and this is the cost of what I sold at that time, and matching at the time. So you can exactly look at, right, this is what I sold, this was the cost, and this is the profit margin and the contribution. We can talk about other things as well, and it might get more advanced, and they might need something like inventory management software, and that's where we really need to understand. But if you understand your cost of goods sold, and sometimes we understand, many of our clients will say be buying from China, and then you need to understand how much was the freight, how much was it per container, how much was the duty. And it's then when you've added all of those costs together, divided it by the total units you've bought, then you start to get close to that proper cost of goods sold, to compare that to what you sold it for. And then, of course, be thinking about marketing cost, ad spend, and all the other important things that you need to consider when you're making those decisions of really what products should I be buying, what products are selling well. It's great they're selling well, but actually, are they producing the margin that you need as a business?
Yes, and this may be difficult to start with, but with the help of A2X, if sort of if we know margin on a weekly or even daily basis, it just helps to make that decision about marketing cost and investment and so on. And sometimes we see people without knowing margin, they do sell a lot, but at the end of the year they may not be making much money or loss at that stage. So.
Yeah, and I'd be very interested in your opinion, Prabhat. I think what we've seen over the last few years, especially recently, it's quite a volatile market at times. Prices are changing a lot. Ad spend costs are changing. Yeah. So really knowing the numbers 6-9 months ago is great, but it's not going to help you make a decision today, because so much has changed in the last 9 and 12 months. It really, many businesses want to know their numbers from today, yesterday, last week, this month, because to make that decision of what you're going to do tomorrow is probably more based of what you did yesterday and last week, not based on what you did 9 months ago.
Well, I agree, because like you said, circumstance change, competition level changes, so it's the latest number. It's important again. So okay, it's all good. So thanks for taking time, Philip, and talking to us about this important subject, because everything depends on the margin. Without that, there's nothing can go forward in e-commerce. So if somebody wants to talk to you, talk about their business and problems with accounting specifically, where's the best place to find you?
Certainly anyone drop me an email at philip@outserve.co.uk. If you go to our website, outserve.co.uk, you will find a contact form pretty much straight at the top there, where you can actually book a e-commerce health check or a discovery call. And by all means, please, even if you're not looking to chat right at the moment, if you look up Philip Oakley Outserve on LinkedIn, you will find me. Please, any friend of Prabhat, any e-commerce businesses who are listening to this podcast, it would be great to connect.
Excellent. Thank you again, Philip, for your time today.